Hello. Welcome to, that should say June 2024. I haven't updated my front slide. Apologies. Welcome to the June 2024. How did we get to June 2024? Ask me anything live coaching call. I am fresh back from Bali. Poor me. It was a lovely time, and here I am back in freezing Sydney. So I'd just like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, recognizing that I'm on the unceded lands of the Wangal clan of the Eora Nation, and recognize that I'm the beneficiary of the dispossession of First Nations people for whom reparations have not been paid. Quick disclaimer as usual. There's only one question tonight, but it's general advice. It's not intended to replace any key treating information. There's no privacy issues here because I don't think anyone's jumping on to talk to me live. Take what you need. It's not gospel. So this is just a little snippet of ideas based on a little question that we are recording, and it'll be shared. So here's the question. I'm going to be in the way there a little bit. I'm going to zoom myself out. Four-year-olds and gaming consoles. So the question from Jemima was, what are my thoughts on gaming consoles for 4-year-olds? Is there any games that are okay, or is it just too young? Now, lots of people would say, oh my God, it's so young. Don't let your poor child's little brain go onto the internet or play any sort of digital games. And certainly we would want to delay or maybe consider where those games sat, right? So gaming is never necessarily the front and center activity that a little person is going to do, but it might be a really, really nice supplement in certain contexts and with particular content as they, you go through life. Especially the context might be that you're a solo parent traveling. So there are plenty of games for 4-year-olds. Some of the design of those games and the purpose of those games is pretty crap. And this is what we find with a lot of apps, whether it's, I was talking today about meditation apps. Anyone can make an app. It's actually not very hard or very expensive to make an app. It's really hard and really expensive to make a good quality app and game that's based on pedagogy, that's based on really good game design. I was also listening to a podcast today, the Conspiratorial podcast, with a philosopher called Thi Nguyen, who is a philosopher of games, who has written a lot about games, and talking about, gosh, I'm just having a mental blank. What was he talking about? Why was I going there? Talking about gamification. It's been a long day. Talking about gamification and the way that like a game and play is all about being in the moment and being spontaneous. And when we gamify, or we try and educationify and gamify a game, it just like destroys the soul out of the play aspect of it. It's a fantastic podcast. I'll put a link to it in the YouTube. And so we want to be really, really cautious of the content and who's designed it and how well it's been designed. So while there might be lots of games out there, selecting those games is really tricky. We can have, as I was sort of saying in my bit of a preamble, let's look at the context of this though. Like, what do you need the games for? I would say, it's pretty young, but there are contexts and situations that might be really useful. And to understand a bit more about those situations would be really cool. It would be really cool to explore where that question is coming from, in terms of, if there was an okay game, does that mean you need to use it, right? So just because a piece of technology, an app or a game exists, doesn't necessarily mean that you need it. What are the motivations for digital play? So again, the context here might be, I am living in an apartment building and the playground next door is under renovation and it is raining, right? So maybe there's 3 or 4 days where you are stuck inside with a 4-year-old, maybe they're sick, but you know, their usual physical play has gone away and you want to offer something to play. So yeah, the context there would be, let's select something really good quality and try and find some offline things to intersperse it with. So think about those motivations for digital play. When it says gaming consoles, I wonder whether Jemima was wondering about like a console, like a PlayStation with like a controller and trying to do those sorts of things, because the hand-eye coordination that's required to use those. I mean, I'm terrible at gaming with consoles, but that might actually be really tricky. So yes, in that case, they might be too young to manipulate the forwards and backs and all of those things. It depends. And some of how that will depend, interestingly, is probably based on their proprioception and their ability to climb and move, their ability to hold a pencil, right? So if that child doesn't have fine motor, if they're not already drawing and crafting and doing fine motor things, then holding something and using their thumbs and hand-eye coordination is going to be more difficult. So their offline developmental skills are going to play into whether or not they can actually use that controller. When I talk about games, sometimes, and I in screens in early childhood, which this kind of category, this age would kind of fall into, I talk about, you know, sometimes watching TV or doing something like playing a game that requires the console or the TV as a part of the console could be better than the phone or tablet. So even if you look at this little person who's already wearing glasses, you know, having that narrow focus and that narrow gaze into a little screen, hunching over, not sitting very, very well, all of the things that come with that. Maybe playing a game on a console is better than a phone or tablet. Again, it's always about the quality of the game. If the game that you're playing on the console is Grand Theft Auto with somebody playing the true meaning of Grand Theft Auto, yeah, probably not. The thing that I would say to try here, there is a game called Poc Poc, which is made by Montessori educators. It is for little ones, and it doesn't use some of those gamified poker machine style game design features that you will see in some of the other games, whether it's sorting games or coloring games and things like that. That really synthetic music and that doop, 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 doop kind of stuff. And the Taming Gaming database is the other one. I meant to get the Taming Gaming book, which is on my bookshelf behind me. If you go to taminggaming.com, you'll find that there's the database. You go to the family database, you put in 4 years old, you put in the console that you're using or the operating system that you're on, you put in the type of game, you might put in accessibility things, and you can actually get different lists of games that would be appropriate for 4-year-olds. So that is that. Jemima didn't jump on, so I'll leave that there. Nice and short and sweet one today. I didn't get any more questions, but I always forget to kind of let people know about it. I haven't done a newsletter or told anyone, so never mind. Next month we will be here, July. Oh, I don't even know what date it's going to be, like July in a month's time. I will let you know when it's on. You can work with me in lots of different ways. I've actually got a joint P&C presentation webinar called what am I calling it? Technology, Training Wheels and Teens. So it's actually for primary schoolers about how to deal with those training wheels that increasingly younger and younger kids are using, social media, getting their own smartphones and things like that. So yeah, thanks for watching if you got this far. Ciao.